and I'll just kind of rearrange things and try deleting sections.
Good Lord.
Anyway, it didn't like the word digital ID in the title.
Well, I've been following this digital ID thing very closely, and I've seen a surprising amount of right-wing support that they actually believe that the government is going to use this to stop immigrants from working legally. I'm like, okay, that they could have done this a number of ways before introducing a digital ID. Are you seeing that on the ground?
Not really. I would say that both, rightists, normies, I'd say, if I had to guess, about 90% of the country is against it.
Good.
But this is one of these things that has been on my radar for a very long time, because one of my kind of special pet hobbies is just tracking Tony Blair, who I call the Dark Lord. I've been watching him for years. And when Tony Blair was the Prime Minister about 20 years ago, he was only ever defeated a couple of times in the House of Commons. You know, they have votes like they have votes in Congress. But Blair never lost. You know, everything was a done deal. Everything was a fait accompli. Like, it was done, right? But he wanted to bring in ID cards back then, and he was defeated. And a man like Tony Blair does not take. Well, I often say he never gets defeated. He only gets temporary setbacks. And since then, he has relentlessly pursued ID cards for Britain, which is then over time, obviously, with technology, become digital ID. He's a very powerful figure. He is backed by Bill Gates, who people remember from COVID, is quite a dark character himself. And his number one backer is Larry Ellison, who is also the number one backer of the IDF and a big backer of Donald Trump. Blair is not, for most people, he's just like, oh, that guy who used to hang around with George Bush and used to be the Prime Minister of the UK. Actually, he's one of the world's most powerful men. He has something called the Tony Blair Institute, which has now into the thousands of employees. He is in dozens of countries. He runs, he's the advisor. I made a list of all of the places he advises. It's like pretty much every African country, every Middle Eastern country. He unofficially advises Keir Starmer. He is constantly meeting state leaders, even though he has no official position in the UK government. Tony, the reason I call him the Dark Lord is because this guy is like, in real life, Emperor Palpatine. And of course, he is one of the few. So, when we're kind of analyzing power, I often talk about globalists or techno-globalists and Zionists as two rival factions. The globalists like WEF, Klaus Schwab, Davos, and these are the people who act as the villains for the right in America, right? And for the right here. And then you have the Zionists, who you guys know all too well, because they're crawling all over the Republican Party and the Trump administration, and it's Ben Shapiro and so on. And usually we see those two factions at loggerheads, but somehow, for reasons I still, after years of studying, don't quite understand, Tony Blair straddles both of those things. So he's had an extraordinary week, because he not only got his lifetime dream of imposing digital ID on the UK pretty much top down without any sort of popular consent at all, but also he was touted to be the new viceroy of Gaza, which came out of nowhere. This is something that is pretty extraordinary, because Labour, Keir Starmer, when they were elected, did not have this in their manifesto. When they first came in, I think you can track the date, 7th of July, 2024, they ruled it out. They said, we will not do digital ID. And everybody said to me, you CAA, you were wrong. You overestimated Blair. I said, I didn't. You watch. Just you watch. He will surround Starmer until he's forced to do it. And now, this week, out of nowhere, he's just come out and announced, yeah, we're going to do it. So there it is. And it's a pretty scary thing, because I mean, nobody quite, they're saying, oh, at the moment it's just for, immigrants who are working here and so on. It's just for, to crack down on illegal
But
work
everybody
and things
has
like
to
this.
get one.
But also it's mandatory. So a lot of people are like, well, what does this actually mean? Is it going to come down to they're going to be tracking what you buy and sell on eBay? Are they going to be tracking, when you make a purchase in a shop, right? And then is that going to be linked in some way to your online, is it going to be like a social credit system, something like this? All sorts of questions. And then even beyond that, there are questions about security, of course. That is can it be hacked? Is people's data going to be stolen? And then the bit that I don't see anybody talking about is the fact that the Blair is, the contracts are going to go to Blair's mates. Who do you think is going to implement the digital ID? It's going to be Microsoft and Oracle in a set of public-private partnerships, which is essentially giving state data, state assets to massive big tech firms.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh yeah. Just hand over.
This is a kind of dystopian. This is basically building the Matrix. And where this gets interesting is that these same figures, these same big tech figures, are also mates with Donald Trump. Oh, Peter Thiel and Palantir and Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. They're all on the same page. Mark Andreessen. Oh, but they're based AA. But the thing is, they want to bring in this control grid. It's the same guy, by the way, Larry Ellison, who's just booked TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
And what did he do overnight? He started to censor TikTok. You're not allowed to say things on there anymore. They literally just banned the orange juice symbol on there. You can't post that on TikTok anymore.
Juice box.
I saw. Or people have had videos taken down for really quite innocuous things now on there, just for like mentioning APAC and things like this. And these are basically the people that this digital ID is going to empower. And this is where I get a little bit frustrated with, online rights and Americans. The British online right are probably more retarded than the American one, which is saying something, right? But this is where people have got like, oh yeah, that could never happen here because of First Amendment, and Trump will never do that to us. Listen, they're telling you to your face they're going to do it. When Curtis Yarvin gets up there, literally backed by these guys, and says, "Oh look, what we want is a kind of tech oligarchy, new monarchy type thing." He's talking about these exact same people.
Oh, right. We watched a clip of Netanyahu yesterday.
Telling you to your face, we are going to build this.
Yes.
And it's going to be feudal, and you're going to love it. That's basically, so it's the same cell, just from a different angle in America. And I just think people should, just see things clearly and not get wrapped up in the emotion of whatever's happening in the current moment,
right.
which is basically impossible. I noticed you called the stream, something about slop or sloppulism or whatever. At this point, the right is so cringy, Rebecca. I'm saying I'm center left because I don't want any. I just don't want to be associated with the absolute cringe fest that we're witnessing. On both sides of the pond, really.
Oh, absolutely. You did an excellent video.
Are retarded, but your lot are just as retarded, so I don't know what to say.
Definitely. Do you think that institution of the digital ID is going to basically prevent any future grassroots movement that is anti-immigration?
I honestly think that even without digital ID, the security state almost makes it impossible, not just here, but in America as well. I think that they are drawn, because politics is all about organization. As soon as any group forms and starts to get organized or start to look like they're not organizing, they'll be in there. They'll infiltrate it, they'll survey it, they'll spy on it, they'll be in there. And this is one of the things, right? When people look, I just made a video actually on whether Farage is a stepping stone to fascism, right? Because some people have this idea that these populist parties can be like a stepping stone, right? They can create conditions that you'll then get like a 21st century version of Mussolini or something. But that security state didn't exist, for example, in the Weimar Republic or in Italy before Mussolini came in. You have to understand that the state, our state, is built on a single principle: never again. The state is an anti-fascist state, right? So it is super vigilant. It is super switched on to anything that looks like it's moving in that direction, and they'll be in there.
What are we supposed to do here? What do we do?
I mean, it's a tricky one because they are pie hot on that particular thing. They're and obviously, I'm not saying don't try to organize politically, but probably the safest way you can do it is just by getting involved in local level politics. Here we have local councils and things, but I would run independent. I would try to do it independently, because if it starts to look like a big centralized thing, you'll have the eye of Sauron on you, and that's just the reality. That is just the reality of it.
Wow, this is so horribly depressing.
It is what it is.
Yeah.